cold, dusty.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another edition of the Hoops All In podcast post-Christmas. I'm your host, always, Werls Francois. Joining us, Kaine, Legacy, and Kyle Anthony. What's up, guys? How is your holidays?
Mine was great, continues to be great. I hope everyone else's is just as equally as well, and everyone's receiving blessings.
Very well said. Yeah, mine was good too. Looking forward to the new year. Looking forward to starting things off with a bang. So, yep.
It's funny. Does anybody ever say, "God, I'm not looking forward to next year"? Like, I mean, like, in general, I mean, like, in generally speaking, if there's something specific you might not be looking forward to, that's one thing. But like in general, it's like, no, I don't want to see this year leave. I don't want another year to come.
I'm sure Tory Lanez is thinking that right now.
Oh, no. Let's not start this off. No, let's not start this off.
He'll have plenty of time. Plenty of years know where he knows exactly what he's going to be doing. So anyway.
That's true.
Oh, yeah. Anyway.
And what did this turn into the shade room all of a sudden?
The Shady Bunch. Anyway, let's go.
All right. Well, we're about a couple days from the new year. So as you said, a lot of blessings will be coming our way, but let's get to it. So Steph Curry is expected to miss a month with a shoulder injury. The Warriors had a great win over the Memphis Grizzlies on Christmas Day. Do you guys think that Golden State can hold down the fort until their all-star MVP can make his return?
I definitely think so. They've done it before. I don't know. People kind of feel like the sky is falling right now, but they've done it before. And I think it's probably a lot of people feel that way because they're the defending champions. So they're like, oh, wow, what a fall off. And now Steph is injured. I don't think, I mean, they had some alarming losses in their last road trip, but, I think it's a combination of things in terms of integrating the newer players, more so into the rotation and dealing with having basically your sixth man in Jordan Poole going into the starting lineup because Steph is injured. Sometimes it can cause a little disruption. But I think overall, Steve Kerr is definitely a coach that can pull it together. These guys, they've been there, done that. They're all familiar with each other, particularly Clay and Draymond. And I don't think there's going to be some kind of problem that sinks their season at all.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think that. I think they're a pretty complete team. I don't think they rely on solely Steph Curry to carry them across the finish line. Honestly, we can look back at other episodes, but I don't think I've ever felt that way, that they're reliant just on Steph Curry. I'm looking forward to seeing what Poole does in the starting lineup. I think they're every year they're a threat, and favorite. Honestly, they're still my favorites to win.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think the Warriors should be fine now. You're looking at their schedule. They got the next, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, a good amount, 6, 7 games at home. They got the Warriors, 1, 2, 3, excuse me. Yes, 5, 6 games at home. So they're a really great home team. I think they only lost like 2 or 3 games at home. Now, if they were on the road, would be pause to cause because they are a very terrible road team. They're 3-16 on the road. I mean, they lost to the Orlando Magic for crying out loud in blowout fashion one time. But seeing how Jordan Poole has played great in Steph's absence, in the long term, I don't want to get too ahead of myself, but we all know Jordan Poole, when Steph Curry retires, Jordan Poole is going to take that mantle. You've seen how these two were playing when after Jordan Poole got that contract. He started off the season a little bit slow, didn't live up to that $50 million extension that he signed. Now all of a sudden, Curry gets hurt. There's nobody to bring the ball up the court. You put Jordan Poole in that point guard / shooting guard role, and he's all of a sudden exploded. Like I'm talking about, like averaging 30, 21, 20 a night, then another 25 a night. So Warriors at home, I think that they'll be fine, and they have some pretty beatable opponents. I mean, they're facing, the Hornets, then the Jazz, then the Trailblazers, who might be a toss-up game, and then they're home again for the Hawks, the Pistons, the Magic. So those are pretty winnable games, depending on the timetable when Curry does come back, which is about like a month. He had his injury a couple of weeks ago, the 28th. We're looking at about a timetable return of January 16th, 19th-ish. If he does come back around the time, then they're on the road and guess who they're facing? The Boston Celtics, the team that they beat in the finals last year, and they beat them earlier this season. So, as I mentioned, Warriors are a terrible road team, but holding down the fort with these upcoming home games. They got a good home stretch against winnable teams. I think that they should be fine, especially with Jordan Poole going berserk like he's been going.
Yeah, sure. I mean, that's what they got. That they saw the value in him, since they drafted him. Not only just last year, which is essentially his really, his breakout year, so his breakout season, so to speak. But yeah, I mean, they see the value in him. He's earned it, and now he's got another chance to step up to another level, improve on that level as a starter, even if it's just temporarily speaking.
I think what I was trying to point at, and I made a correction, not against the Magic. It was a close game when they got blown out, especially to the Pistons and the Nets, my Brooklyn Nets. I think that with Jordan Poole and Steph Curry, they can't play together in terms of when Steph Curry was starting off the season berserk, MVP candidate, Poole wasn't really showing that he was worth that contract. Wiggins was playing great. Klay Thompson still getting himself back into shape. And as soon as Steph Curry goes down, then all of a sudden you see the emergence of Poole, the Jordan Poole that we saw in the finals last year. So as a Warriors fan, he's like, okay, we have Steph for another 2-3 years in his prime. If we have them both on the court, what do you do with Jordan Poole? Because we saw a sample size when Steph Curry and Poole are playing together. Poole doesn't play that great because it needs the ball in his hands to be effective. Maybe, he's coming off the bench. He could be a great 6-man addition. I'm just talking about from a coaching standpoint with Steve Kerr, how is he going to be able to integrate Steph and Jordan Poole? Because we've seen Poole doesn't play great when Steph is on the floor with him. But when Steph is out, he looks like an MVP candidate.
Yeah, I think that they'll work it out. Steph, Jordan, and Steve Kerr will work it out because that's just part of the game. You're going to sometimes have to mix and match. Sometimes your bench is going to have to be in the starting lineup. I think it's really just a matter of having not only a larger sample size of them playing together, but just more reps, more time where they would have to be on the court together. And frankly, it hasn't had to happen that often, especially since Klay is back and he's, although he has some rest games, I don't think it's going to be some kind of ongoing thing where it's like, oh my God, the chemistry is bad. And, so many teams now are rolling out 2 point guards, 2 playmakers in the backcourt or and such. And they're, even if it's a wonky start, ultimately they figure it out and get it together.
I agree. Just wanted to ask you that question since you are the Warriors fan on this show. All right, continuing on, we're going to take it to the Eastern Conference. The Boston Celtics currently have the best record in the league at 24-10. Are the Boston Celtics right now the current favorites to win the NBA title over the field? I will go first with this subject because I am all of a sudden just starting to hop on the Boston Celtics train ride.
At least you admit that you're a fair weather bandwagon fan.
Well, no, okay. I'm not talking about I'm a Boston Celtics. I've never said I was a Boston Celtics fan. We got to correct that, Kyle.
I know, but you are now. I'm glad you admit.
But no, I'm not. But you could see a good team like, wow, these guys are playing fantastic. They have a legitimate shot to win the title.
You are always a fan of who's winning, Werls.
Not
Hey,
really. I'm still a fan.
don't even just don't bother.
No,
We
no,
can roll
no.
the tape on that, man.
Okay,
I mean,
let's
you
roll
were
the tape because if you guys roll the tape, they're gonna see what do you guys talk about. If I see, hey, this team is good, they have a chance to win the title. That doesn't mean I'm a fan. That's being a realistic analyst.
But you didn't just say that. You said you're on the train.
Yeah, I'm
ride.
on the train ride.
So is
for
there a
them to
difference
win the
between the
champion-
train? It's a train, not a bandwagon. Though.
I'm
It's the
on the
difference,
train
right?
ride of them saying, hey, Boston has a legitimate shot to win the title this year, including that means that they are going to beat my Brooklyn Nets to get to the finals. That's called being a realist, not a out of the blue fan like the Golden State Warriors and the Phoenix Suns fans that we got over here. It's called being a realist.
What do you
When
mean
you see a team is cooking, it's like, wow.
What does that mean? Out of the blue fan? What does that mean?
Yeah, I
Just
mean,
out
I've
of,
been
like,
a Phoenix Suns and Celtics fan for years, bro.
Now you're a Celtics fan?
What are you talking about? I've been in the Northeast in New England for how many years?
When did you
Over
ever
a
say you
decade.
was a Celtics fan?
The very last show we recorded, you have to start paying attention to these shows.
No, did
bro.
he say he was a Celtics fan?
Before the season started, I was the one rooting for Blake Griffin. You guys were ragging on me
Blake
over
Griffin?
it.
Oh my God.
Well, exactly. But laugh at that. Yeah, of course. That's funny.
What?
But my point being is I've been a Celtics fan since they had Rick Pitino. I don't know what Wells, I'm not going to, hey, I don't know where your facts are coming from today, bro. I really don't, man.
But to speak of,
I've always said the Phoenix Suns are my number one team. Boston Celtics are my number two team. I got receipts on that one, bro.
I
don't do the bandwagon.
Hold on, no. It's kind of funny that he says that when like a year or two ago, Phoenix Suns had the best record in the West for the last 2 years, and I'm
still a Phoenix Suns fan. I mean,
I understand you're a Phoenix Suns fan, but where did Boston came from?
Look back at these episodes. If you can't find me saying that every single time we talk about the predictions for the following season, then I don't know, man. You win another bet there, but I don't know.
I mean, just on a personal note, I do know that. I mean, it's not so much that it has to do specifically with geography, but I do know that begrudgingly, even though he was born and raised in New York, since he's been living in the New England area, he's been a Boston Celtics fan. I can't vouch for that, but just in if we bring it back to me, if I may, I've said it, I've pointed this out several times that I've been a Golden State Warriors fan since the Relief team, which was how many years ago? And I've stood by that. And I've never been a bandwagon fan, for crying out loud. I grew up a Knicks fan, and I've been a Golden State Warriors fan for the last 15 years or so, whatever. And they've both been through their really bad, really long droughts. So, a bandwagon all out of the blue fan is someone who looks at the standings and says, oh, I'm going to follow that. I'm going to root for that team this season. It's very easy to pick the team that's number one in the standings and say, yeah, I'm jumping on that because they're favorites. And in terms of your original question, yeah, I mean, if you got a game and a half lead above ahead of the team in the second spot, who were the Milwaukee Bucks, then statistically speaking, yeah, you're probably expected to contend and go deep and be the favorite at least out of the conference. But that's easy. That's easy talk to just determine that or come to that conclusion just by looking at standings. But I think comparing stats and likelihood versus comparing who you think is a bandwagon fan or suddenly rooting for a team that they never rooted for, that's two different topics.
Yeah,
I
mean, at the end of the day, it's like I was a Celtics fan when they were riding with Paul Pierce and they were last, they had the worst record in the league, and then 2008 was my favorite year.
Antoine Walker.
You know what I mean? Yeah, Antoine Walker, man. Yeah, right. Heartbreaking. Doc Rivers, all of that. I was there for all that. But I mean, at the end of the day, like, if we're talking about just strictly based upon this year, I still have to say I don't favor them to win it all. Am I rooting for them to win? Yes, but I'm rooting for the Suns to win it all too.
That's not gonna happen.
But I mean, like at the end of the day, the reason if you're right, it's not going to be the Celtics that stop them. It's going to be the Warriors. That's
maybe the Clippers. Once they get
maybe
their act
possibly
together.
I will have to agree with you on that. Possibly the Clippers could, but like the Celtics, it's way too early in the season. You know what I mean? It's too many injuries going to happen, and Jason Tatum is carrying a large part of that load right now. You know, so we'll have to see.
Well, before I even answer my question, because I said, are they the favorites? Well, as we said, at this right now, where we're currently constructed in the season, we still have 2/3 of the way season left to go. We have all of January up until March, April. Obviously, anything can happen. Knock on wood. But right now, if we had to bet, we're just making predictions. Boston Celtics look like a complete team. Marcus Smart has formed into that point guard that they needed to be. He's averaging about 5 or 6 assists a game. Jason Tatum right now is a legit front runner for MVP. He's averaging 30 points a game, and they're winning, and he's playing on both ends of the court, offense and defense. Jaylen Brown looks like another legit all-star. Looks like he's going to be another all-star this year as well, too. They got front court, Robert Williams that just came back. So that's another shot blocker. Hopefully, if I'm Boston, if he gets back into shape and gets his feet back under him after his knee surgery, he's going to command a good $15-20 million in offseason. Grant Williams, another spark off the bench. You got Malcolm Brogdon, another point guard off the bench. Like, you look at this team from top to bottom, they don't have a weakness. And you see they're playing so great, and they have a chip on their shoulder where they're coming to the season with the vengeance because they are mad about what happened in last year's finals, losing to Kyle's Golden State Warriors. Any team who loses like that in the fashion that they did, knowing Jason Tatum didn't perform up to his standards, are going to come back this season with a chip on their shoulder. You know what I'm saying? That's all I'm saying by that. But when I say, hey, well, I'm on the train because when I say I'm on the train ride, as a fan, you have to know, wow, that team is playing fantastic. And for them to get to where they want to get, and that's an NBA championship, they're unfortunately going to have to run and beat my team, which also has the same goal of trying to win a championship. Right now, they are better than my Brooklyn Nets. They're playing better complete basketball than my Brooklyn Nets. Hell, they're playing better complete basketball than everybody in the league at this moment in time. So that's all I have to say about, hopefully nobody gets hurt, really knock on wood, because injuries are part of the game. Everybody stays healthy. Coach Mazzulla is doing a great job continuing to execute the game plan that they had last year, and that win against the Milwaukee Bucks on Christmas Day at home. Now you say they didn't have Chris Middleton. Okay. Chris Middleton hasn't really played so great this season on the games that he had played. He's plays a couple games and he's out. He's in, he's out. I think right now how Boston is playing, the team currently constructed, I think that they have a legitimate good shot, barring injury, knock on wood. I think that they have a legit good shot to get out the East, and we might see another rematch of Celtics Warriors and maybe Celtics Grizzlies or Celtics Clippers. But I think right now Boston is the best team in the East.
To be fair, your Nets are on like a 8-game winning streak, man. That's
I know.
Yeah, I'd have to.
I
I couldn't count them out at this point. The way they've been playing, like, honestly.
Yeah.
So, as far as the Celtics being the favorites to win the league, as much as I would love to see it, I don't believe that. But
who do you think is in their way to possibly stop them?
The Nets, one.
You think the Nets?
Definitely. Out of the East, the Nets, the Bucks. I just, at this point in the season, we started off here last year. You know what I mean? And I think that, wasn't it Celtics 1, Bucks 2, or Bucks 1, Celtics 2? Last year, they were a threat. The Celtics will be a threat for a long time. But, I mean, the Nets, you can't count them out in the East. I favor the Nets coming out of the East this year. I'll predict that.
Looking at the standings right now, you guys are sleeping on another team. You didn't mention the Cleveland Cavaliers, too. I think that they're also a legitimate threat. Mitchell has been playing out of his mind since I don't know why he's not in the mention of MVP too. I mean, with their third 22-12, they're 7-3 in their last 10 games. Cleveland, and that team is young. They're going to be around for a while, but just knowing how Boston has gotten that championship, playing in the finals, that championship tournament experience by playing in the finals, they really want to right the wrong. So that's where I'm going. But hey, if the Nets win, I'll be all happy right now. Right now, we are playing great basketball. I'm happy we're on an 8-game win streak. We look like the real team in New York. KD's balling, Kyrie Irving's balling. We had no outside distractions so far. Team is loaded, so good.
Because there's someone there that you mentioned that finally grew up and realized he should really make priority his priority number one being basketball during basketball season and keep his mouth shut for the most part. And I'm not saying the shut up and dribble thing. I'm saying that a lot of that distraction was completely unnecessary. And I think he lost his focus, which he obviously has back. That's all I'll say about that.
And I'm hats off to him because
good for him that he's got his focus back, because his main priority from October through April, May it should be basketball, and not anything else in his personal life that takes away from that becomes public. It doesn't have to become public.
Hold on, I got a question for you. Even though you said it is not like a shut up and dribble kind of thing, in a way people are watching this, well, it kind of came from that point. So say, again, we're going to knock on wood, say for another traumatic event happens in history, like another George Floyd thing, or something happens against the Black community. You see all these other athletes are speaking up because they spoke up when the George Floyd incident happened. They did. And you looking at Kyrie, and Kyrie doesn't say nothing. It's like, nope, I'm just focusing on basketball. Are we gonna be like, okay, well, you know what, Kyrie, everything that happened to you get a pass? Or are we gonna be upset when he doesn't say anything in that situation?
I think
because in a way we look at athletes to be a voice for the voiceless because they have a huge platform that we don't. We have a platform, but it's nowhere near on the level that they do.
Let me clarify, I guess, what I failed to say, which I know I've said within the last couple of episodes, was
you did.
That he sometimes comes across as if he forgets that he has such a huge platform. And he has, because he is a worldwide sports star, he thinks that he acts like he shouldn't be held accountable for what he says through social media or what his choices are that affect his status as a member of a sports team. Someone who is supposed to think, when it comes to playing basketball, is supposed to put the team first and think about those interests as well, and be responsible, be accountable for what you say in the public eye, because you have such a huge platform. You have people that are looking up to you. You have people that are leaning on your every word, for better or for worse. And that's what I meant in this sense. Of course, everybody should speak if they have a right to speak, and if they have a chance to speak, if they're passionate about something. But what I mean, when I'm coming from in this particular case, is you have to just understand that what you say is going to resonate, and don't be caught don't be blindsided by your own by the reactions to words that you did not relay clearly or convey as clearly as you'd like to have. That's what I mean by that. You have to be held accountable and be ready for repercussions or blowback or whatever it is, and not pout about it if you're not getting the response that you expected to get. Yeah. But you should expect some type of response and be prepared for it. That's what I meant.
Clarification. I think also just being in that New York market, knowing that any and every word that you do say can be held against you, whether good or bad, because the media, if it's a boring day in the office, they're going to look for what? What's that C word? Controversy. Controversy creates cash.
Well, yeah,
in a way it does. It's
one of the largest media markets in the world. And yeah, you're not going to have two reporters with recorders and such in the locker room after or before a game. You're going to have 15 to 20. And so, yeah, there's a big difference between playing there versus playing in Cleveland, and no disrespect to Cleveland or Orlando or any of the smaller media markets. But yeah, you have to be prepared for this. And I think at this point, it's fair to say that Kyrie has transcended the size of the market that he's playing in. So, like I said, coming back to my point, he has to be prepared to take ownership of what he says when he puts it out there, and not be and wonder why people might not react the way he wants them to.
I think, and I agree with you. Like I said, when you have a public platform, you have to be careful what you said. But I also think that it could be a way where people only react in a negative way when he doesn't say things that they like to hear, or they want to hear. Because like Kyrie, you have the voice of the voiceless. You should speak up for us. It's like, no, guess what? I got a family. I'm just a regular human being. I can't speak for everybody. I can only speak for myself. Now, if you want me to speak for you, cool. But you're going to know if I say this, I'm going to get backlash from this side. If I say this, I'm going to get backlash from that side. That's just the case. So there is no right or wrong way to say certain things, because anything that you say, you can say the most purest thing in the world. Like, hey, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays. I hope you enjoy your time with your loved ones. Somebody's going to find a way to take offense to that. So you can't please everybody. You can only speak what you can say.
That's one of the oldest things in the book. You can't please everyone. You know, my point is, you don't have to speak this to please everyone. You have to speak and be and hold yourself accountable for what you say. Be responsible and own it. That's what I'm saying, because you're gonna have to be prepared for either way.
Yeah. It's unfortunately become part of his brand at this point, because when you talk about him, you talk about this stuff. Like Werls, for example, like his channel in general, he speaks on a lot of socio-political sort of topics. You know what I mean? It's part of the Werls brand. You know what I mean? Whereas if I started saying certain things on my channel, people are like, what the hell's going on? You know, so it's, you know, it's the branding. Like, we have that in our heads about Kyrie now. I mean, I'm just glad to see that at least now basketball is becoming another priority within the brand. You know, the stuff he says, he has the right to say whatever he wants to say. I just hated that it took so much away from basketball, because he's an amazing player, you know?
Yeah. But, you know, I think that because he's focusing now on what he should be focusing on in this time of year, in this point in the season, which is basketball and his team and being the best teammate possible.
Yeah.
That's the right choice. And you know, it is a contract year.
Yeah, no, that's true. Like I said, hopefully it just keeps it that way. Focus on basketball. It's probably the reason why Kevin Durant has all these burners accounts, so he can say he really wants to say. He's like, hey, I can't, because if I say it comes from KD, it's gonna be an issue. But he got these burners.
Oh yeah,
I'm sorry.
And who knows? Maybe he's loaned a couple of to Kyrie.
They all have check marks, like $8 a month, right?
Yeah, man, all it takes is $8 to get on Twitter. Verification. Get in there now, because there's a fire sale out here.
Well, no, hold on. I heard they doing away with that though, because there was too much like fake accounts being.
What did they expect, man?
Yeah, I mean, Mush should have knew better. I think it was just like a trial, like let's see where this goes type of thing. And then when it went left, it was like, all right, we can't continue with this.
This time of year, I might be the CEO of Twitter. So, you know, all it takes is a 57% vote saying, yeah, you should quit. You know, it might be a vacant seat there. Who knows? But
so
anyway.
what's everybody's pick to win it all at this point, at this snapshot in time?
To win it all.
I mean, legit pick. I mean, we all know who we're fans of, but who do you think is going to win it all?
Can we talk about who we don't want to win?
No, just pick one team. Okay. Because let's keep it positive.
Okay. I know there's a few. Who has a legit chance? You know, it's not just coming out of your conference. You know, after you face whoever you have to face and taking all these different things into account, you know, that could happen. It's about, you know, who you're going to face in the West, which you brought up earlier, Kaine. And you know, I think when you look at it from that perspective, it just makes it a little harder for me, because, you know, you've got to cross-reference both conferences to make that pick. So, I mean, to favor it overall, to win it all. I mean, you know, you want to talk about
out of each conference then.
All right, well, just one point I want to make. You know, when you talk about saying like, oh, you know, Boston Celtics, like Werls said, have a chip on their shoulder because of what happened in the finals last season, you know, I mean, if there's anybody out of the West who's playing with chips on their shoulder, I would say there's two right off the bat, you know, would be Denver and Phoenix. You know what I mean? They both have something to prove, Denver especially, because, you know, the last few seasons, they kind of almost, dare I say, regressed for a little bit, you know, but they're a powerhouse right now. And that's with the majority of their games playing without Murray. You know, so I think that's, you know, I think they've got a really good shot. You know, as long as Chris Paul stays healthy, I think Phoenix has a good shot of going deep. I'm sorry, I can't call it.
All right.
West is that deep for you? Too early? That deep? Too much parity?
I would rather revisit this after the All-Star break, at least.
I can predict Golden State versus the Nets. That's my first prediction with a backup plan. If like something, because we've learned in the last couple of years, wild cards happen.
And you know what the subplot would be with that? It's like, oh, KD versus his old team.
That would be sick, though. It would. It would pay. That would be the biggest ticket.
And I would bring both of you to San Francisco to watch.
I'm down with that.
And if I can't get tickets to a game, then we're going to the parade.
All right. And my number 2 out of the West is obviously Phoenix, and my number 2 out of the East is Boston.
All right.
I mean, hey, if we can't go to San Francisco, we know at least play 2 games here at the Barclays. So
right, we're gonna come down to Brooklyn.
Yeah.
If everybody plays.
What about you, Werls? Too early to call for you?
I mean, right now, like I said, I think Boston, just how they playing at this moment right now, they look real good. But so I had to say, like you did a 1-2. One would be, I think, Golden State once Steph Curry comes back. And again, you never ever knock out the defending champions. So I could see a rematch, Warriors and Celtics. And I had to say number 2, you brought up a good point. Denver has been really balling. Jokic is back. I mean, not Jokic is back. Obviously, he's balling. I meant Murray is back. I think what you said, Kyle, since they regressed, they didn't have Jamal Murray. They didn't have a true quote unquote quintessential
but
point
actually
guard.
Not even I said within the last couple of seasons, because even before he got hurt, there was like every season they would get to the playoffs, but then they would fail to progress to the season, the round that they did the previous. So they were regressing in the playoffs, but now they're back with a vengeance. My only point, I'm sorry to cut you off.
No, go ahead.
Point you got to just keep in mind is, you could talk about, I mean, this is not a revelation, but I mean, whereas the last 10, you've got Denver at 7-3. The last 10 for Boston, they're a 500 team in their last 10. So
whereas the Nets are 90% in their last 10.
Down to your matchups and there's other factors to be involved. But I like you guys' predictions, and I respect that.
You gotta understand though, Boston started the season crazy hot. I mean, they was like undefeated. They started like 10-1 or like 12-1, something like that.
The Nets are almost there now. Like the Nets are 90%.
The season is a marathon. So if they're 500 in the last 10 games, you would expect little bumps in roads. It's a very, very long season. You know what I'm talking about? And like I said, and to go back to your point where they would go into the playoffs and get bounced at the first round, I think there was a transitional period because Jokic started to get that rise and Murray was there. So it was kind of like, okay, is this your team? Is this your team, Jokic, or is this your team, Murray? And obviously, after Murray went down with that ACL and Jokic won his first MVP, it was clear cut in the size. Okay, this is Nikola Jokic's team, and Murray's going to have to play second fiddle. I think that was why they were just trying to figure things out.
You called that years ago. Well, a couple of years ago, you called that one. So you were calling it Jokic's team from day one almost. So.
I thought it was going to be Murray's team. Kentucky high draft pick, but then you see that little Joker just all of a sudden popping triple doubles left and right. I'm like, wait a minute. It's kind of like the same situation in Minnesota. Like, it's Cat's team, but then you see, Ant just slowly, gradually rising up there. And it's like, okay, whose team is it? Is it Cat or is it Ant? And if Ant somehow wins MVP in the next few years, that discussion is going to be over.
Hey, what's up, XLF fam? I'm Kyle Anthony, and if you're like me, you've always wanted to be in good shape or wished you were in better shape. Maybe you've tried working out alone but found it hard to always get that self-motivation, or you joined a gym and got discouraged because you couldn't avoid comparing yourself to the people you see there who are further along in their own fitness journeys. You may even be someone who procrastinates their way out of getting started at all. I've been guilty of all those things at one time or another, but the pandemic helped me realize a few things. There are many ways to get and stay physically active. There's no one method that works the same for everyone, and mental health is not only just as important as your physical health, but they're very much connected. With Exceptional Life Fitness, or XLF, we're going to help you by offering tips, motivation, and inspiration in a way that suits you best and jumpstarts your journey to feeling better physically and mentally without gimmicks, fads, or cost. Now here are a few words from some of my XLF partners.
What's good, my XLF fam? My name is Kevin, and in this video I'm going to show you guys what I'm going to bring to the XLF family, the Exceptional Life Fitness. Anyway, I come from an exercise background, I got my degree in movement science with a concentration in sports medicine. And I've been into fitness and athletics my entire life. I've been playing baseball, basketball, football, but I'm mostly stuck with handball, which is my sport of choice. Played throughout high school, a little into college, but in the years leading up to the pandemic and throughout most of the pandemic, I wasn't in great health. I kind of just stopped caring. I put on weight. My overall health, reflected through actual medical records, wasn't doing too good. So I decided just to make a big change. I dropped 30 pounds and my health has never been better. And throughout the pandemic, like I said, it just really shined a light on just how important health is. To go for your daily walks, try to get your nutrition through food as opposed to just straight supplements, right? Having a bad diet and trying to cover the bases with supplements. And I hope to bring a lot of useful information to you guys, whether that's through understanding anatomy better, the functional aspect of exercise, form breakdown, nutrition, all that good stuff, you know. I also dealt with pretty bad GERD and some other stuff, and hopefully I can help one of you guys out. And know other members of this channel have their own story and their own struggles and how they kind of reconnected with the importance of having good health. So that's it, guys. I hope you enjoy my intro video, and I look forward to bringing you guys more content.
What's up, my XLF fam? This is Kane, here to just tell you a little bit about me and what I'm going to bring to the table for the XLF fam. Most of my adult life, I've been into fitness. As you can see, I'm on a basketball court now. I love the game. I've also went boxing since my time in the Army and a lot of running. What happened with me was during the pandemic, just like so many of us, right, Cope? Yeah, so many of us, we fell out of fitness because of the lockdowns and everything. Couldn't go to the gym, or we weren't really playing basketball like this because of fear of the pandemic. It was weird though, not only did my fitness suffer, but my self-confidence suffered terribly. It did start to affect everything else in my life, personal relationships, business, everything. I realized that I really had to get back into fitness. And as soon as I did, I noticed a positive change in myself. Just felt great. Everything just started turning around for me. So now my partners and I, we just decided that we wanted to share that good feeling of confidence with you guys. You don't have to be super fit or be a fitness model or anything like that. We just want to share tips and tricks with you guys. I'll show you guys some basketball workouts and routines that I use to keep fit, running tips. We might even go into fashion and sports gear, give you guys some boxing tips. You never have to want to fight in your life, but boxing is a great cardio workout. All right, that's my basketball trainer right there. Say what's up, Cope. All right, guys, welcome to the XLF fam. Talk to you soon.
So, follow us, like, and subscribe. We hope you'll be as excited to be part of our XLF family as we are with helping you along the way to feeling your exceptional best.
To transition now, staying in the Eastern Conference, there's been some rumors and reports that Zach Lavine and the Bulls aren't quite seeing eye to eye. Zach Lavine was recently benched by Coach Billy Donovan a few games back after Zach Lavine shot 2 of 15 from the field, which is awful. And so now there's been some reports and rumors and a lot of people talking on the internet saying, is it time for the Chicago Bulls to maybe blow it up? You know, Zach, what's his name? Lonzo Ball looks like he's gonna be out the whole year with the knee injury, you know, and the Bulls just don't seem to be clicking it. They're right now 11th in the Eastern Conference, 14-8 at this time of this recording. So do you guys think, is it time for the Bulls to blow this up? Is it time for Zach Lavine to seek a trade, or should they just stand pat and see what happens next year when they get all the horses back?
You know how I feel about player-driven trades. You know what I mean? I don't think we should submit to that, but I think I'd have to make an exception here. The Bulls, I think it's time for them to look into a trade. They're like the bad news Bears, you know, it's just not working for them. And they were so good, again, it's one of those teams that's good on paper, but it just doesn't materialize. And when that happens, it's a failed experiment. Got to shuffle the cards, you know. So I agree, but not because any player. Yeah, I know, right? The Bulls, we were back on the map, But I don't think it should be player driven. But yeah, if he shoot, what did you say? Werls 2 for 15?
He shot 2 for 15 one game and didn't make a basket in the third or fourth quarter, and then Billy Donovan just pulled him out. He's like,
if I did that in a pickup game, I wouldn't be picked for the next 5 games. That's abysmal. So yeah. So yeah, I think it's time for them to look at the trades.
I think so. They everything, as they always say, and They went on a nice little streak recently. Again, you're winning games. Nobody talks about who plays subpar defense. So, whether or not what's going on in the locker room, nobody cares about that until a losing streak comes in. Then it's like, oh, wait a minute. Oh, you know what this one is said? You know what this one is saying? What did this one mean when he said this and on social media, or he posted this meme or whatever? You know what I mean? So yeah. Do we seek out a trade just because all of a sudden there's a bump in the road? I mean, I respect Billy Donovan and his decision for doing what he did. If you're trying to put your team in the position to win, whether it's your star player or not, of course, your money maker, your the salary guy, one of the faces of the franchise, you bench him for a quarter, you suck that up and you say, okay, you know what? Yeah, you know what? I didn't play well. Of course, you want to be on the court, but you have to understand, if you don't play well, respect the coach's decision. Now, if you're playing well enough when when you're on the court and suddenly you get DNP's coach's decision and you don't know why, and it's for several games, then to me, that's alarming. But to say, you know what, Billy Donovan yanked him because he wasn't playing well. Well, yeah, he wanted the team to win. He wanted to win the game, and Zach wasn't doing it. I don't see what the fire alarms are all about in throughout the league, or the whispers and things about this. It's like, you need to know, if you're not playing well enough, respect the coach's decision to say, hey, you know what? You should be a stand-up guy and say, you know what, I didn't do well. I would have I should have taken myself out of the game.
There's not a lot of humility like that in the NBA right now, man.
But I'm saying, but you know what? Say it, and even if it's not, I mean, you always want to be, you can't play hero ball and always expect to win. So, it's like, your feelings may be, and your ego may be on the line because you signed this big contract. You've been there longer than your all-star, your fellow star teammates, but at the end of the day, you should want to put the team first. That's all I'm saying.
But what is the ball without Zach?
Well, right now, well, I got no comeback for that. I tried for a second.
We'll edit one in later.
Right now, all we got is duh.
Oh, yeah, got a ball. What was that? All right, I'm sorry, Werls. I know you got to respond.
No, that's funny. I'm laughing too. That shit's hilarious. Oh Lord.
Man.
Yo,
That's
where
one
you
for the
guys
high.
come up with these? That's hilarious. I think right now all this talks of them possibly blowing it up, it's all just premature. It's just everybody just overreacting. Like I said, guys, they don't have their starting point guard, Zach Lavine.
We're talking about the ball, Zach, and we're talking about
the ball.
Okay.
But like, they don't have their starting point guard. Like, Lonzo Ball is not playing. He looks like he's not going to play this whole year. And you got who's starting their point guard? This guy named Ayo Dusamu. He's not even averaging over 3 assists a game. So they have no true quintessential traditional point guard who can create the offense. And then who you have to create the offense? Zach Lavine and DeMar DeRozan. Both of those guys are scorers. They're not going to distribute the basketball and set the offense. Those you put the basketball in their hands, they're gonna get you buckets. That's it. So it's like everybody's like, oh, it's time for them to blow it up. Man, shut up. Okay. Stop it. Wait until Lonzo Ball comes back next year. All right. They still need to add a few more pieces. Nikola, I believe his name is Vucevic. He's had games where he's played great, and then other games where he's just piss poor. He hasn't been that consistent big man who could get you 20 and 10 like he was in Orlando. I think wait till next year. Lonzo comes back. Maybe if they try to trade, Vucevic and get another consistent, big man, then they might just be another 5-6 playoff seed. But right now, no, especially you got a point guard. He's averaging 2.8 assists a game, barely over 10 points a game.
I think the ball boy does one.
Yeah, like what?
You gotta wonder why Kobe White isn't in that position then? He was there longer than Ayo, so
I think they kind of view more Kobe White as a distributor, not a distributor, maybe as a scorer as well too. Because Kobe White right now, I'm looking at his stats. He's even worse. He's averaging 1.8 assists a game.
Oh God.
well, there we go.
Yeah.
I can do that.
So it's like when Lonzo Ball was there, they had somebody who could create an offense and get the sets going. Now Lonzo Ball's not there. It's like, all right, hey, I'm open. Pass me the ball. No, okay. So
I mean, it's just that when even with all three of them, it's like we never talked, at least on this channel. I don't remember we us talking about Chicago being a legitimate threat to win it all, but they have 3 All-Stars. So that's the only reason why I would say, yeah, at least think about, you know what I mean? Like what options you might have out there while you guys got these guys on the contract and you can move them for something,
Yeah,
you wait too long,
because especially too, you got DeMar DeRozan. He's 32. He's averaging almost 27 points a game. He's got to be untouchable. Like since he's got there, last year he was an MVP candidate.
Yeah,
like he's been balling since he put on that red and black uniform. So you can't trade DeMar. If you're gonna trade Zach Lavine, to who? You just gave him that massive extension off season. He will 5 years, 200 million plus. Who's gonna take on that contract? Especially you see how he's been playing up and down lately.
Why aren't they? What is Chicago's issue then? Like,
I think, like I just mentioned, I think it's just they don't have a true point guard to get the offense going. Because sometimes that Ayo Dosunmu guy's not cutting it, and if you put the ball in DeMar DeRozan and Zach Lavine's hands, they just don't really set up an offense like that. Like, yeah, they're ball players, but they're just pure scorers. And also the Bulls don't play no defense. They gave up 150 points to the Minnesota Timberwolves. Are you like fucking kidding me? 150?
Maybe they could get Westbrook.
Oh, no. That's no. Let's not. No. There was that trade. Oh, you see some of that trade? It was like, hey, we're gonna trade you DeMar DeRozan and Vucevic. They're 2 best players for Russell Westbrook. I said definitely a Lakers guy had to make that shit. Ain't no way in hell they're gonna do that trade.
Oh man, I hear he's big in the Midwest. Oh God. Oh man,
That's
I agree with you.
I'm so
I agree
tired
with
of
you,
talking about
bro.
Westbrook. No matter what happens, it's always Russell. He always comes
He's
back.
he's playing great this season. He's been playing good.
Yeah, well,
Give him props.
And I guess at this point, somebody has to play well on the Lakers.
Yeah. Ooh.
You know what I would say to that too? And this is just my 2 cents in it. I think that people can't play with LeBron James, and here's why. Every player that the Lakers have traded to help make the team better in favor of LeBron has not worked out. Has not worked out. They brought back Rondo. He's out the league. You brought back Dwight Howard 2 times. He's out the league. Anthony Davis, when he first got there, he was great. Now all of a sudden he can't stay on the field, on the court. He's like made of glass. He's out the league. Anthony Davis not out the league, but if he doesn't keep playing, it looks like he's going to be out the league sooner than later. But Anthony Davis never had that issue of him being healthy that he had when he was in New Orleans. In New Orleans, he was the dominant 25-12 guy. As soon as he got with the Lakers after he won the championship, it's like this guy can't stay on the court, And then who else that they brought in? Russell Westbrook, MVP candidate, balling in OKC, was doing great in Houston. As soon as he got to the Lakers, all of a sudden we criticize him left and right. He comes off the bench, not playing with LeBron James. Now he's playing decently. It's like the Lakers are bringing in all these players. They had the most roster turnover in the last 3-4 years. LeBron James been there, and it's like all these players that they brought to play with them, they either out the league or they last string team just barely making it to stay in the league. And it's like, is LeBron the problem?
That's an interesting.
Is LeBron James the problem? Because every decent player that he said, hey, go get me a shooter, go out you shooter, hasn't worked out. KCP right now is doing great in Denver. He was on the Lakers. He was an issue. JaVale McGee, even though he's not really playing much for Dallas, but when he was on the Phoenix Suns, he was a great defender and rebounder. When he was on the Lakers, it was like, is JaVale McGee really that JaVale McGee when he was in Golden State? So it was like every person that the player brings in, that the Lakers bring in to help LeBron James, they seem to just not play great with them. And it's like, hold on. At some point, we got to look at you like, oh, you the problem?
What a waste, man. I mean, JaVale McGee, he should be a Sun for the rest of his career. 'Cause
career.
He did, it's great
Yeah.
out there. But no, I never thought of it that way.
Yeah, like
LeBron is
Kyle
like,
Kuzma.
am I the drama?
Kyle Kuzma, they traded him after they won the championship.
Yeah.
And look, he's playing fantastic with
Mhm.
Washington. Now they want to bring him back. It's like, hold on.
No, don't
Y'all had me
ruin his
there.
career. Yeah.
Brandon Ingram, all-star last year. When he was on the Lakers, like we got it. Obviously, you had to trade something to get AD, but all these guys who have left the Lakers, most of them have started to play great. And it's like, no, hey, we want you back. Like, no, I can't play with LeBron because if I would go play with him, my career's gonna go. Maybe
I'm not even gonna make the playoffs.
just the thought. And how much I love LeBron, but it's like, it's been a pattern now for quite some time.
I haven't even thought about that. I don't know why.
Maybe LeBron might be the problem.
Ooh.
Wow.
Sorry, King.
Wow.
Well, there you go.
Hey, to be determined on next episode of Hoops All In.
Right. Ending it on a cliffhanger. Yeah, we need, yeah.
Dun, 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 dun.
Wow. All right. Yeah, I never thought about that. I really didn't.
Just a thought. But yeah, all right, guys, that is it for this episode of Hoops All In. As we always wanted to say, happy holidays, Merry Christmas, and happy upcoming New Year's. We hope 2023 is full of blessings for everybody who's watching the show and a fan of the show. As always, Hoops All In is executive produced by Rain Multimedia, our sponsored Exceptional Life Fitness. You can follow them on their social media platforms right there. You can tell the @ name will be down on the screen below. As always, I'm Werls Francois, Kyle Anthony, Kaine Legacy. We will catch you guys next time on another edition of Hoops All In. And to check out more Hoops All In content, go to rainmultimedia.com. All the stuff is on the website. Till next time, everybody, heading into the new year 2023, more blessings coming our way. Peace.
Peace. God bless.